Well, all right. Welcome back to As It Should Be. Paul Bertolino here in the world famous As It Should Be studios. And, well, I am shooting this video last night. Yeah, I'm shooting it last night. Actually, I usually shoot my Monday videos on Sunday night, sometimes Saturday. But yeah, this time I'm shooting this on Sunday, December 8th. Yes, December 8th, which is, of course, the 45th anniversary of Lennon's death. John Lennon's death, and also happens to be my birthday. yeah, it's also my birthday. Yeah, my birthday is December 8th. I'm 55. Okay, well anyway, but that's a whole other story. Yeah, I'm 55. But anyway, so I decided, as soon as I get the hair out of my mouth, that I wanted to do a track versus track, John Lennon track versus track, and I'm going to be putting 1973's Mind Games against 1974's Walls and Bridges. And you're probably going, well, why would you do those two albums? Why wouldn't you do Plastic Ono Band versus Imagine or something like that, you know? Well, I really love these albums. I really love this one. I don't like this one. I like these albums. I think these are both great albums. And there are a couple of reasons. They match up track wise just in terms of the number of tracks. They both have 12 tracks. They're back to back. I feel like they're kind of similar. It's sort of a similar era musically for Lennon, and yeah. And I actually have copies of them right here, and they're not in the world famous As It Should Be archives. So there's that. But yeah. I just thought this would be a good couple to put up against one another. I thought it would be interesting, and that's what I'm doing. All right, so let's get on it. Do my tally sheet here. Mind Games against Walls. Okay, so now as usual, I have ranked the tracks on each album, so I'm going from my least favorite to my favorite, choosing my tracks along the way, my fave tracks along the way. Okay, so first of all, Mind Games. First up is Mind Games. What I have at number 12 on Mind Games. You're going to be shocked. You're going to be stunned. Utopian International Anthem. Yes, I have that at the bottom. I mean, I'm sure you guys are probably thinking I'm out of my mind. How could I possibly put that at the bottom? Yeah, well, I put that at the bottom. The thing about that track is that, you know what? It sounds suspiciously similar to a John and Yoko track called 2 Minute Silence from Life with the Lions. Yeah, unfinished music number 2, Life with the Lions. Yeah, I don't know. Listen to the two tracks side by side. They're very, 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 very similar. Anyway, well, that goes against what I have at number 12 on Walls and Bridges, which is Ya Ya. You're equally going to be shocked and stunned. Yeah, which is, of course, the closing track on that album. That's just John and Julian. It's Julian's album debut. His recording debut, Julian whacking a snare drum and John singing Ya Ya. And, it's a short little track. But what do I choose? What do I choose out of these? What is my favorite? Well, I'm choosing Utopian International Anthem. That's right. What? Why would you? What is it's 30 seconds of silence. Why would you? Well, because I don't like Ya Ya, and I'm taking a page out of Robert Fithen's playbook there, and I'm choosing silence over the track I don't like. So that's that. There you go. That's the story there. Okay, so number 11. What I put at number 11 on Mind Games, which it is Only People. Only People. It's not that great of a track. It's not a terrible track. The thing about this album is there aren't any bad songs on it. There are just some kind of bland, kind of very mid kind of tracks on it. And this, now, I've talked about this album before where at the when I first heard it, I just couldn't I just couldn't with this album. It was just unmemorable. It was just bland and just ugh. It was just ugh. There was just nothing there to cling on to. Over the years, I've really started to like the album. But even with that, there are some songs that are just like ugh, that I just don't like much, and that I really just find just completely forgettable and bland. And this one isn't that forgettable, but I just don't like it. I tell you what, though, the thing about this track that I find really funny is that I feel like this is like. It's sort of the prototype All Those Years Ago. Yeah, it's kind of similar to George's All Those Years Ago. It has that same kind of rhythmic thing going on, and it even has like I want to say it doesn't have like a lead guitar that's almost kind of like it's really similar. Listen, yeah, check it out. But anyway, that goes up against the track I have at number 11 on Walls and Bridges, which is Beef Jerky. Yeah, Beef Jerky is an instrumental. You know, it's kind of a rockin' instrumental, but it's kind of an instrumental that I don't find that engaging. You know, it's B-side at best. I mean, I think he should have put Move Over Mazel on the album, and Beef Jerky should have been a B-side. You know, but, whatever. What do I choose? Well, I'm going to go with Mind Games on that because, well, at least Only People's a song. You know, yeah. I mean, I don't mind instrumentals, but that one just doesn't. It seems to have no purpose, and has no. And like I said, it doesn't do anything. It doesn't go anywhere. It kind of sits there, B-side level. All right. So coming in number 10 on Mind Games, Tight As. Yeah. Well, it's the second track, and it's sort of a rewrite of Cripple Inside. It's like a B or even C level version of Cripple Inside. I'm not the biggest fan of Cripple Inside, and so a copycat lesser Cripple Inside, yeah, I have that low. That goes up against what I have at number 10 on Walls and Bridges, which is Nobody Loves You When You're Down and Out. That's an easy one. Walls and Bridges gets that. Yeah, Nobody Loves You When You're Down and Out. I think that's a great track. I have it low, but see now, I will say, I mean, I've already kind of pointed out, and I'm going to say now, I do prefer Walls and Bridges. So we're this low on the album, and we're into songs that I really like. I think Nobody Loves You When You're Down and Out is great, but everything above it, I just like more. So, all right. All right, so number 9, coming in number 9 on Mind Games is Bring on the Lucy, Free to People. Free to people now. Pretty good one. I like that one a lot. It's now the stuff below this I don't really like. This one is at the real lowest end of the stuff that I actually genuinely like. And I want to. This goes up against what I have at number 9, Walls and Bridges, which is Old Dirt Road. And Old Dirt Road is kind of a really middle-of-the-road, mellow 70s track that I love. I like that track. But I could see where that's one that you kind of have to... that has to grow on you. Some of the stuff, a lot of the stuff on both these albums are songs that may not grab you right away. You kind of have to keep going back to them. You know, they're kind of growers, slow burns, some of these tracks. And I would say that would be one of those tracks. But I'm into it. What do I choose, though, between the two? Bring on the Lucy or Old Dirt Road? Well, it's easier than I'm letting on. Walls and Bridges. Yeah, I'm going to go with Old Dirt Road. So now it's tied. Okay. All right. So coming at number 8 on Mind Games is I Know. Yeah, now that's one of the weird things about this album, and kind of an annoying thing about this album, Mind Games. He has so many titles. He was really into having titles with parentheses at this point. You know, you have I Assume It's Then I'm Sorry, Bring on the Lucy, Free to People, and he goes so far as to have a track called I Know. And then he has One Day at a Time. Why would you call it One Day at a Time? Why just call it One Day at a Time? You know, I mean, One Day at a Time is a really, you know, kind of lame cliche title, But, if the song's called, it's kind of like if your name's Kimberly going, well, I'm going to change the spelling of Kimberly with a Y. Ooh, to make it different. Yeah, whatever. Your name's still Kimberly. And that song is still called One Day at a Time. But anyway, we haven't gotten to that song yet. We are on I Know, I Know. And that goes up against... Oh, by the way, I'm sure you've all noticed this. But have you noticed that the opening riff on I Know is the same lick as I've Got a Feeling? Yeah, John's completely aping the boom boom dam yeah. Nowhere near as good of a song though, and I like the song, but but anyway, that goes up against what I have at number 8 on Walls and Bridges, which is Steel and Glass. Yeah, and Steel and Glass, man, that's a good one. And of course, that's a part 2 of How Do You Sleep from Imagine. He claims that I wrote that about myself, but I think he wrote about Alan Klein. I don't know. That's what I think, but what do I know? I wasn't there. Anyway, what do I choose between the two? That's pretty easy. Steel and Glass. Steel and Glass is a great one. And, all right. Number 7. Coming in at number 7 on Mind Games. Meat City. Yeah, the closing track. The only really rockin' track on the album. And, it's a pretty heavy... It's kind of a heavy Lennon tune, isn't it? Yeah, it's a pretty good one. I think a lot of people would actually put this track much, much higher, ranking this. Matter of fact, I think a lot of people might even put it at number 1. But... I have it at number 7. And that goes up against what I have at 7 on Walls and Bridges, which is What You Got, which coincidentally is probably kind of, the most rockin' track on that album. It's less rock than Meat City, but it's a really upbeat, track with like just a screaming vocal from Lennon. It's a really great track. Ooh. See, now we're getting into stuff that's a little closer and a little tougher to call. Meat City versus What You Got. Ooh. Well, yeah. I'm going What You Got. All right, well, Walls and Bridges now has twice as many as Mind Games. All right. Coming in number 6 on Mind Games is You Are Here. Now, it's a very sort of relaxing, on the beach, on a Caribbean island, sort of mellow 70s tune that I really, really love. Now, that's definitely one of those tracks that you need to, it's a grower. It's definitely a grower because it's not immediate at all. Like, it's really something you have to kind of, find your way with. And I really found my way with this. I really think this is a great track. And that goes up against what I have at number 6 on Walls and Bridges, which is Surprise, Surprise, Sweet Bird of Paradox. Sweet Bird of Paradox. And clearly something that John wrote about May Pang, because of course this Walls and Bridges is his big Lost Weekend album. Man. I really love You Are Here, but Surprise, Surprise takes that by a mile. Yeah, I think that's much, much better. And this could end up being I didn't think about this. This could end up being a slaughter because I really, really love Walls and Bridges. But, let's go along for the ride and pretend we don't know what's going to happen, okay? Okay, so number 5. Coming number 5 on Mind Games is Intuition, which is the opening track on side 2. Now, this track is I find it's a real standout from the rest of the album. It's just has a completely different vibe. It has this really bouncy pop vibe, almost kind of 60s, reminiscent of 60s pop in a way. It's a track that didn't get my attention earlier, but when I really kind of hit on it and discovered it and realized, oh yeah, this is like bouncy 60s pop, very much filtered through the mid 70s, but yeah. I ended up really liking it a lot more. And that's, of course, one of the things that brought it up so high on this ranking. But that goes up against what I have at number 5 on Walls and Bridges, which is Scared. That's the last song on side 1, right? You know, it has like this lumbering rhythm and really atmospheric arrangement. And, you know, it's one of those songs that where John is very repetitive and simple lyrically, but it's just such a great sounding track and has such a great vibe and feel. I really, you know, like I said, it's very atmospheric. I love the atmosphere of the track. I really like that one a lot. Yeah. Annihilates intuition. I should have thought ahead before pairing these two. Okay, all right. Number 4. Number 4, I have Out the Blue, which is the second track on side 2. Yeah, I think this one's really great. I think this is really good. Out the blue, you came to me. And that goes up against what I have at number 4 on Walls and Bridges, which is Whatever Gets You Through the Night. And of course, that's the big number 1 hit on the album. Duet with Elton John. I don't need to go over the whole story of that. You know that whole story. I know what I'm going to pick. Out the Blue. Mind Games gets that. Yes, I'm taking Out the Blue over Whatever Gets You Through the Night. Yeah. It's weird. I put Whatever Gets You Through the Night really high. I'm actually looking at this now. I'm realizing I ranked this pretty high in the album, but at the same time, I feel like I've never loved that song. And I love Scared, and I love Surprise, Surprise. I probably misranked these. That could be it. But hey, I gave Mind Games a win, right? Yeah, well, I mean, I do love Whatever Gets You Through the Night. You know what it is? I don't think I love it as much as other people do, which makes me feel like I don't love it. But I do. I just don't love it, I feel like, as much as others do. And I do like Out the Blue more. So, yeah. Anyway. What do you want from me? Okay. All right, so number 3. Coming in number 3 on Mind Games is One Day at a Time. Yeah. The aforementioned One Day at a Time. And, well, speaking of Elton John, what made me find my way with this track, this used to be, of course, a track that didn't even get my attention when I tried with this album, in my early days of trying with the album. What brought me around to this track was the Elton John version. Yeah, Elton John did a cover of this in the mid-'70s, and I heard that at some point, and I was like, wow, this is a really good song. What is this? And I looked at it, and I was like, oh, written by John Lennon. I'm like, oh, wait, One Day at a Time. And I pulled it out, like, oh, shit, this is a song from Mind Games. Wow, okay. And then I put it on, I was like, oh, wow. I hear this song entirely differently now. Elton John, he brought me to the song. So 100,000 things to thank Elton for, and that's one of them. But I put that up against what I have at number 3 on Walls and Bridges, which is Going Down on Love. Ooh, the opening track. No contest. Going Down on Love. Whew. Probably the single most 70s track John Lennon ever did. It doesn't get any more 70s than that. And I love the hell out of it. Okay. All right. So number 2, coming at number 2 on Mind Games is I Sumisen. I'm sorry. And that goes, oh man, this has no chance. Because it's going up against what I have at number 2 on Walls and Bridges, which is Bless You. That is a dark horse of a track that I love. I love Bless You so much. I mean, it absolutely obliterates I See Sen. And I See Sen's great, but Bless You, all day, every day. Okay. This is a slaughter. Okay. Which brings me to what I have at number 1 on Mind Games, which is, of course, the opening title track, Mind Games. What a great song. What a great single. One of my very favorite Lennon 70s tracks. Absolutely. God, that is such a good track. But that goes up against my number one on Walls and Bridges, which is arguably, possibly, my very favorite Lennon 70s track. My very favorite Lennon solo track. Bar none. It's neck and neck with another one, but possibly my very favorite. In fact, I love this more than many Lennon Beatles tracks. Yeah, it's the one that you all have at number one, too. I mean, who wouldn't have this one at number one? Number 9 Dream. Oh, God. Yeah, you know what? I'm not even going to keep you in suspense. Yeah, number 9 Dream fucking wins. Yeah, by a mile. Number 9 Dream over... If you take every other song that I've mentioned on this episode and combine the powers of them, they couldn't win over number 9 Dream. So, yeah. So, anyway... Walls and Bridges got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And Mind Games got 3. But you know, man, I like Mind Games. It's an underdog. Now, I consider Walls and Bridges to be wildly underrated. This is an underrated, great Lennon album. This one is exactly perfectly rated. It's pretty, you know, it's very mid. It's not a bad record. It's not a great record. I mean, it's no Sometime in New York City, but it's also no Plastic Ono Band. It's right in the middle there. It's right in the middle. And this one, fantastic. So, of course it won, but, you know, I had to have some excuse to make a video about John Lennon today, right, didn't I? All right. So, thank you, everybody, for watching, and thank you for subscribing if you have. And if you haven't, maybe consider subscribing. If you do, click the little bell because of notifications. And but come back this Thursday because Crystal Durant... Take 2. But come back on Thursday because Crystal Durant and Tommy Von Boyd are going to be back here in the world-famous As It Should Be Studios, and we're going to be continuing our Live Albums of the Year series. And this week we are going to be discussing our favorite live albums of 1972. Yeah, ooh, so you're going to want to come back for that. Hopefully I will see you then.